it seems like every single day of 2026 is like a new prophecy being fulfilled. We are literally living in Revelation right now. It's crazy with the aliens coming, which we know are just demons in disguise trying to deceive the entire world to unite against the second coming of Christ. We got the first American Pope. And if you understand prophecy, this is so significant. We're going to look at this. Yesterday, America gave the Pope a medal of a Liberty Medal. On Vatican News, it's talking about it. And you see the Pope saying, "God bless America." Who is the Pope to us? We're America. This is a religious leader from Vatican Rome. What does he have to do with America at all? But this is the whole agenda. The whole agenda is to unite the world together, and especially America and the papacy. If you don't understand that according to prophecy, we're going to study that out together. I'm going to try to make this quick as possible because we got a whole video deep dive on that. It's like just over an hour long, and you guys really need to check that out. If this is completely new to you, then you really have to check out that video, and I'm going to give you guys the link. But yesterday, it says, accepting the prestigious Liberty Medal from the U.S. National Constitution Center for his lifelong commitment to promoting religious liberty and freedom of consciousness. This is so ironic right here, that he was awarded for promoting religious freedom and freedom of consciousness. Now, if you understand history and what had happened in the Inquisition and all that stuff, like, this is so ironic. ABC News, actually, it says right here, Pope Leo calls for unity. This is so prophetic. The whole thing about unity. We just did a show on the World Cup, how it wasn't just a sporting event. There was actually ceremonies with performances that all had to do with global unity. All the nations of the world, all peoples and tongues, all flags were there as the music played, and these provocative performances that are all saying the same thing: to follow your heart and to make up your own rules and to set your throne above the heights of the stars and to unite in a global unity. This is the new world order. This is what they're trying to push down your throat. This is prophecy. It's going to happen, but it is so amazing to see it happening right now. And how many Christians are probably just not even paying attention, or worse, are actually excited, thinking that the world is getting back to God, that Christianity is coming back, that Trump, he dedicated the country back to God. That's a good thing, right? Is it? Is it good when the government starts enforcing religious laws? Yes, that's not here yet, but it is going to come. When you read the book of Revelation, it clearly talks about that there will be a forced system of worship on a worldwide scale, that all the world worshiped the beast by force. If you don't worship according to this way, you will be persecuted. You'll have your buying and selling ability cut off. At the click of a mouse, you no longer have your social credit score. You can no longer travel. You can't buy food if you don't worship this way. Or you'll be thrown in prison 10 days and ultimately beheaded. That's where this is going. It's going back to the Dark Ages. That's what's happening, but it's going to look so close to the truth that it's going to deceive millions of Christians, because it's going to look like peace and love and safety. That's what the Bible says, that he's the Antichrist, or Satan, is going to come in the name of peace and safety. Now, look at this video, because this is just full of prophetic language. First of all, I want to point out something. This might be a little esoteric for some people, but there are 13 stars in this circle. 13 of all numbers, it had to be 13. And why is there just one star highlighted? This star right here is highlighted. It's the only star in the circle that is actually inverted.
Center, it is my great honor to present to you the 2026 Liberty Medal in recognition for your lifelong commitment to religious liberty and freedom of conscience.
I would just like to recall the words signed by the founding fathers of the nation 250 years ago in Philadelphia in the Declaration of Independence, when He said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, and they include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. May those values continue to inspire all of us in the United States and throughout the world. And together, hopefully we can all work that those freedoms will indeed be a part of the lives of all people everywhere.
So he said, we can work together. It's America awarding Rome. America is giving Rome a medal, calling him His Holiness. Well, right here, you see it says, congratulations, His Holiness. Look, what did Jesus say? There's none good. There's none holy but one. Why are we calling this man holy? Listen to this.
Holy Father, on behalf of all of us.
Holy Father. He's calling him Holy Father. Jesus said, call no man Father but your Father in heaven. Here is some government agent for America presenting a medal to Rome and calling him Holy Father. It says, behalf of all of us.
It is my great honor to present to you the 2026 Liberty Medal in recognition for your lifelong commitment to religious liberty.
Your lifelong commitment to religious liberty. It is so ironic. It is laughable.
And freedom of conscience.
And then he said, we can work together. Now, look at this. These people are obsessed with numerology and certain words, and this is all purposeful. Look at this. Pope Leo marks the mark of the beast. It's right there in your face. We're literally seeing the beast, Rome, united with America's hands like right in front of an American flag. You have America and Rome, and it's got the word mark right there. And then when you read this thing that was written, and among the most cherished of these principles is religious freedom, the right of every person to worship according to his conscience and practice their faith openly. I just think it's so ironic that he's using this language about talking about your freedom of consciousness. I believe in this, by the way, but I think it's ironic that he, the representative of papal Rome, is talking about freedom of consciousness, because during this time, the Inquisition, there was no freedom of consciousness. If you didn't bow to the Pope, you were burned at the stake. And so came along Martin Luther, who was a Catholic monk searching for truth. He began to read the scriptures for himself, a Bible that was chained to a wall in the basement, and he found out that the principles that the Catholic Church was teaching, the dogmas, were not even real. They're not biblical. The teaching of eternal torment in hell, not biblical. The teaching of whipping yourself and all these things were not biblical. And so he nailed the 95 Theses to the wall and had a debate. And it was about freedom of consciousness. Look right here. Martin Luther and the Long March for Freedom of Consciousness. They tried to kill him over this. God preserved his life, but many others were killed for following their conscience and not wanting to bow to a system that wasn't biblical because they were biblical Christians. Now, the very system that killed millions for following their conscience is being awarded a medal in honor of supporting freedom of consciousness. This is insane. All right, so that's what's been going on. Let's tie this into Bible prophecy, okay? I'm sitting here saying that Rome and America are going to unite in Bible prophecy and that it's going to bring about the mark of the beast. Where am I getting this from? Notice in Revelation 17:9, it says, this calls for a mind with understanding. 7 heads of the beast represent the 7 hills where the woman rules. They also represent 7 kings. This is the New Living Translation. You see in the English Standard Version, it says are 7 mountains. The King James Version says the 7 heads of the beast are 7 mountains. But there are versions that say 7 hills. Why? Because in the Strong's Concordance, it can mean mountain or hill right here. A mountain, hill. So if we're looking and we're using wisdom like it says, this calls for a mind. Where is it saying in the King James? And here is the mind which hath wisdom. So let's use our wisdom and go to the Bible to find out what is this cryptic prophecy of codes and symbols trying to tell us. Well, it's telling us that there's a harlot woman sitting upon a beast And that beast has 7 heads, which are, and it's telling us that 7 heads are 7 mountains or 7 hills. So that's the code. We got the decoder straight from the Bible. Now we see right here in the Strong's Concordance, it can definitely mean hill. And so let's do a simple Google search, because now we have the technology. We have the information to break this code. God is trying to wake his people up. We live in the information age, and it goes both ways. You can use this to go down some dark roads or look at stuff you should have never looked at, or you can use it to find the truth. And you type in, who is the city of 7 hills? And what does it tell you? Rome, Italy. Right there. I mean, this is biblical prophecy. There's no question about it. When we read Revelation and we see this beast with 7 heads, we look it up. The 7 heads are 7 hills. You look up, what is the city of 7 hills? Boom, Rome, Italy. Well, that's just one piece of the prophetic puzzle. All the pieces have to match, because there's a lot of different views on what this could be. But I'm going to show you that every single piece of the prophetic puzzle only matches one system. There are 2 women in the book of Revelation. There's the woman who's dressed in white. She's standing on the sun. She's standing on the moon, clothed with the sun. This is representing God's people. Again, another symbol. Revelation is not a literal book. It is a prophetic book written in symbols. And we are the bride of Christ. We're this woman in pure white. If we follow Christ, if we follow the Lamb wherever he goes and we don't compromise, we are the women in white. Now there's another woman, but she is a harlot. God talks about this in the Old Testament a lot. He said when Israel would stray away from him, he said, you've gone a whoring after strange gods. He's our husband. We're his wife. So if we are unfaithful to him, then we are compared to a harlot. Now here is a harlot, and she's dressed in purple and scarlet. She's drinking out of a golden cup. She's decked in precious stones, and she's sitting on this beast with 7 heads. Now the Bible tells us that a beast represents a kingdom. This is in Daniel. You can look it up about the 4 beasts that rise out of the sea. The beasts represent kingdoms. So we see a woman, which represents a church or a group of people, but these people are not following God to the fullest. They're following some man-made traditions. This is the corrupt church that's sitting on the city of 7 hills. Are you putting the pieces together? Now all you got to do is search Google, Purple Scarlet Church. There's no bias in here. I said nothing about Catholicism. I didn't try to lead the search engine. I just literally said Purple Scarlet Church. If I'm an investigator, I want to find out what the Bible's talking about. This is what it's talking about. Here is, right in your face, the Purple and Scarlet Church. These are the official colors of the bishops and cardinals. They wear purple and scarlet, and they have gold and precious stones all over the Vatican, and you can literally find pictures of the Pope holding a golden cup. All right, so now we have the city of 7 hills is Vatican, Rome. Now we have the Purple Scarlet Church is the Vatican. Everything's lining up perfectly. Daniel is the key to understanding the symbols in Revelation. But there's a prophecy in Daniel that Nebuchadnezzar had a dream about an image, and this image had a head of gold, which Daniel said, this is you. You represent the head of gold. You're Babylon. But then there was a chest and arms of silver, and that represented the Medes and the Persians, and that prophecy was fulfilled. Medo-Persia conquered Babylon. Then there was a belly and thighs of brass or bronze, and that was Greece. And historically, this literally was fulfilled. Greece literally conquered Medo-Persia. Then there was these long legs of iron, and iron represents Rome. And sure enough, prophetically and historically to us, Rome did conquer Greece, and Rome became the world power. Rome was the world power until 476 AD, when they divided and everything changed. But notice the last metals on the statue is the feet. The feet are made of partly iron and partly clay. So it's still got Rome in it, but now it's got this miry clay, this dirty clay mixed with it. What is clay? God says he is the potter and we are the clay. He is our God and we are the church. The body of Christ is the church. But this is a corrupt church. This is a dirty church, a dirty clay mingled with iron Rome. So we know that the last final kingdom before Christ comes as that rock cut without hands and smashes this entire statue and takes over the whole world, we know that the last kingdom is a mingling of church and state. Dirty clay and iron mingled together. These prophecies are again told to us in Daniel 7, where we got the lion with eagle's wings that stands up like a man and gets a heart of flesh. This is what happened to Nebuchadnezzar. He was turned into a beast for 7 years, and then God gave him a heart of flesh. You look at the walls of Babylon, and they're full of these lions with eagle's wings. Then there was this bear raised up on one side with 3 ribs in its mouth. It's raised up on one side because the Persians were greater than the Medes, but they were together. They were one beast. Then there was the 4-headed leopard with 4 wings. What does a leopard represent? Speed. What does wings represent? Speed. So Alexander the Great conquered so fast that it said that he was thought to have killed himself with alcohol because he was so depressed that there was nothing else to conquer. He loved conquering, and he was fast at it. That's why he's represented by a leopard with eagle's wings. But when he died, his kingdom got divided to 4 generals. That's why it's got 4 heads. And isn't this interesting right here? Alexander the Great Leopard. There's literally paintings and sculptures of him sitting on a leopard saddle on a horse. Like, this is how amazing the prophecies in the Bible are, that it's so clear. Then there's a dreadful beast that comes out of the ocean that looks like some dinosaur or something. And it's got 10 horns on its head, and it's got iron teeth. Again, iron represents Rome. So these are the same prophecies. This is what they call repeat and enlarge. So each time you get a piece of the prophetic puzzle, it's giving you more information. These prophecies about the beast, they go deep. It talks about the 3 ribs in the mouth. It talks about the 4 heads. It talks about a little horn coming up among the 10 horns. So it's giving us more information. But then Revelation gives us even more information. So this harlot that's riding on the 7 heads of Rome, Daniel 7:24 tells us, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse. So we know that the horns represent kings or kingdoms. Check it out. Revelation 17:12 says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom yet. And again in Daniel 8:22, the ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. So a horn represents kings or kingdoms. Well, in this prophecy about this beast with 10 horns with iron teeth, there is a little horn that rises among the 10, and it's got a mouth speaking great words of blasphemy. So wait a minute, there's going to be a little kingdom that's a blasphemous kingdom. Let's check that out. What is the world's smallest nation? Interesting answer. You see this? Vatican City is the smallest country in the world by both land and area population. So everything about the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation tell us that the first beast of Revelation, that the beast is Vatican City. The Catholic Church, the corrupt church that's sitting on the beast with the 7 heads, which is the city of 7 hills, Rome. Do you see? It's so clear. There's no other way to look at this. None. This is the only way that this prophecy can be fulfilled, is in this way. Now, Revelation 17:15 says, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So the woman is sitting on this beast, and she's in the sea, and it tells us that even the sea is a symbol for many peoples. So when this beast came up, it came up in a densely populated area with a bunch of people, many peoples and multitudes, nations and tongues. But then we see another beast, and it doesn't come up out of the sea. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So if water represents a lot of people and many nations and tongues, what does the earth represent? The dry land. It represents not many people, right? So what nation came up after Vatican Rome that came up in a place that wasn't too populated? And it says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So the deadly wound, Vatican Rome, the Roman Empire, suffered a fatal wound. But that wound is beginning to be healed as we see all the kings of the earth fly over to Rome and literally kiss the hand of the Pope. Clearly, he's not just some religious leader in some small country that has no significance. George Bush, Bill Clinton, Obama, Trump, they all fly over there to meet with the Pope. And it's not just American leaders, it's all the world. Meet with this person. Why? Because he's very significant. He's the first beast of Revelation. Now, this second beast says it's described as having 2 horns like a lamb. So we do not have kings in America. These horns do not have crowns. We have the Republican and the Democrats. So you can choose of 2 horns, Republican, Democrat. There's no horns, or no crowns, but it speaks as a dragon. Who is the dragon? Satan is the dragon. But the dragon is also synonymous with Rome, because when you read the prophecy about the woman who is pregnant with the child and she flees, there's a dragon chasing after her. That is representing the Roman armies that were going after Christ in the womb. And Mary had to flee a different direction, to flee from the kings of the earth trying to kill all the firstborn males, or all the males, children. So the dragon represents Satan and Rome. And so here we have this beast, a world power that rises out of the earth in a not so populated area, who has 2 horns like a lamb, which represents a Christian type nation because Christ is the lamb, but he speaks as a dragon. This is America, guys. America is known to be a Christian nation. Everybody says this was a Christian nation. It's founded on Christianity. The forefathers were Christian and all this stuff. But it speaks as a dragon, meaning through its laws, it's going to start making more laws that speak like Rome. What did Rome do? They had a form of godliness. It looked Christian. The Catholic Church appears to be Christian on the outside, but they are a dragon. They are a harlot. And America is going to be doing the same thing, going to be making laws that enforce worship, but it looks good. It looks like peace and safety. It looks Christian. It looks like love and unity and coexist. And that's the problem. There's only one way to God, and that's Jesus. You can't unite all the religions together. And notice right here, this is just what the AI answer on Google said, but I was asking it about the second beast, and it says that the second beast operates as a false prophet. It exercises the authority of the first beast. So a lot of people have a misunderstanding about well, we know that the dragon and the beast and the false prophet. We know the dragon is Satan, and then there's a beast, which is Rome, but then there's a false prophet. And some people say, oh, I think the false prophet's the Pope. No, the dragon is Satan, the beast is Rome, and the false prophet is the second beast, America. Why is it called the false prophet? Because it is pointing all the world to worship the first beast, which is Rome. Soon we are going to have America telling all the world to worship Rome. Look right here. He exercises all the power of the first beast, meaning making laws about religion, and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. That's Rome. And he doeth great wonders. So he makes fire down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and he deceives them by the means of those miracles. And then it goes on to say that he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So this is another thing that people get confused on. What's the image of the beast? I think it's AI. I think it's they think that there's going to be a statue that's going to come to life or something. Remember, this is all symbolic. What is an image? An image is a copy. It's a mirror. The first beast is Rome. The second beast is America, who's going to become a mirror image of the first beast. America is the image of the beast. America is the mirror image of Rome. America, the second beast, is the false prophet that's pointing all to worship the first beast, Rome. I'm going to show you something very interesting. I love that we live in the information age. So the image of the beast, check this out. Washington, D.C. and Vatican, Rome, they are literally mirror representations. They're mirror replicas of each other. One is Rome, one is Washington. America is literally a mirror image of the beast. It's not just the dome, it's also the obelisk. Washington has an obelisk and a dome, and Rome has an obelisk and a dome. Look at this. Do you know that Washington, D.C. used to be called Rome? Washington, D.C. was never officially named Rome. However, a specific estate on the exact land where the U.S. Capitol sits today was patented as Rome in 1663. Okay, so before it was Washington, D.C., where the Capitol sits today, it was patented as Rome. America was founded by people who were fleeing the persecution of the papacy. They wanted freedom of religion. It wasn't a Christian nation. They wanted freedom to worship however they wanted to worship, whether you're a witch or a New Age or whatever. But papal Rome was killing you if you didn't bow to their system. So they ran over here, and for some reason, they named part of America Rome. Makes no sense. They also named a state Maryland. This is, again, Catholicism. This is so crazy about the merging of America and Rome. Check this out. Have you ever thought about what the logo is for American Express? America and Rome. This is a Roman centurion is the official logo for American Express. And actually, if you have an American Express membership and you go to an airport, they actually have a lounge that you can eat at called the Centurion Lounge. Isn't this great? Like, it's so in our face, yet we don't see it because we have been deceived about everything that we believe. We're not being taught true prophecy in mainstream churches. We're not being taught a lot of biblical truths in our churches either. Here we see that the Pope, no matter which one it is, they've all had the same agenda. The Pope is the Antichrist. And I'm not saying Pope Leo. I'm not saying Pope Francis. I'm saying any Pope. It doesn't matter who it is. Satan has been around for thousands of years, and he's working through people who only live to like 100 years max. It doesn't matter who is the face. He's working through the kings. Whoever gets that throne is Antichrist. Yes, Pope Leo has made interfaith dialogue and collaborations a defining focus of his early papacy. Instead of seeking a single theological merger of all religions, he focuses on bringing world faiths together to work on shared moral, social goals, such as peace, human fraternity, and justice. His efforts to build bridges among religious traditions include several specific recent actions. And here we go. Promoting coexistence. This is the one world religion that's soon to come. Many people do not understand prophetic events, and that's why it's so important to study prophecy. That's the only way that we are not going to be deceived in these last days. We're soon to face things that we could have never imagined, deceptions that are so beyond our belief that if we go by emotion, logic, or our senses, we will be deceived. We must study the Bible for ourselves. We cannot keep believing these Jesuit-infiltrated churches out there who are teaching all kinds of false doctrine. When there was a Reformation, the Catholic Church created a counter-Reformation. And they created all these false doctrines to basically point the finger away from them being the beast system. These people like Martin Luther and all those guys from the past, they understood that the papacy was the beast of Revelation. But now we live in a society where it's like, I wonder who it is. Is it Obama? Is it Trump? Who is it? Who's the beast? We're looking for some one man American president to be the Antichrist when it's Vatican. It's the whole system over there. That's the first beast. And it's going to come in the form of, we read Revelation and we see these movies like Left Behind, and we get this idea that there's some American president that just hates Christianity with a passion and he's killing Christians in the street. Kill all the Christians. That's not very deceiving, is it? This is going to be the biggest deception in human history. Only a remnant will not fall for this counterfeit. Satan is going to appear as an angel of light, as Christ himself, doing lying signs and wonders, walking around the earth. But what does the Bible say? That Jesus isn't going to touch the ground. We're going to be caught up to meet the Lord in the air. He's going to come like lightning flashes from the east to the west. So that's why it's so important to understand prophecy. If any being, supernatural or not, is walking around doing miracles, it's not Christ. That's not what prophecy says is happening next. So that's the first deception. There's many others. What is the mark of the beast? What is this whole system of worship? Is it a microchip? We have the answers in this video right here. Please, I'm begging you to watch this documentary. Watch this presentation right here called Not a Chip, Mark of the Beast. It was streamed a year ago. It's an hour and 18 minutes, and it is a deep dive, line upon line, scripture, history, prophetic, like current events. This is where things are heading. I hope this was eye-opening to you. If it was, please click a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I want to know what you guys think. Maybe I'm wrong. I've studied this a lot, and I can't see any other way that lines up with every piece of the puzzle. You can't have just part of the piece of the puzzle. I used to believe a lot of different things. I used to believe this iron and clay was transhumanism. I used to believe that the mark of the beast was a microchip, but the more I studied, the pieces didn't line up. This is the only way that every piece of the prophetic puzzle fits together, and we're seeing it happen right before our very eyes. We have an American Pope. Isn't that crazy? An American Pope that speaks English, and the United States just gave him a medal. I mean, we are seeing the merging of America and Rome right now, and Trump has just declared that he's bringing the country back to God. How does that work? If all it is a speech, that doesn't really mean much, right? You have to make laws. There are laws about to come to make you know that this is a Christian nation. And those laws are going to enforce some things that should never be enforced, because God doesn't force his laws on anyone. God is the ultimate freedom of consciousness. He created freedom of choice. He created free will. It was never to be forced. If you're new to this channel, please click subscribe. If you would like to support this channel, you can go to CandidTruthOrg. We got Cashapp, Venmo, Zelle, PayPal. We are 100% donation based. If you would like to invite us to your church, your event, your schools, whatever, we will come and give presentations at your event. And we also have cool merch on our website. If you would like to buy a hoodie or a t-shirt or a mug or shower curtain or whatever, we get a little bit of profit from that, and it really helps this ministry. We cannot do this without you guys. Thank you so much to those of our monthly givers. We love you. We thank you. We can't do this without you. We will see you next time on Candid Truth.